So, a little fable for you today. A man had two sons, an older son and a younger son, and I'm dog sitting, and there's a dog with a squeaky toy in the background. Hey, Teddy, Teddy, can you not do that right now? Can you? Can you play with your tennis ball instead? So cute. Come here, dude. Come here. Come here. This is what they made Ewoks out of. They made Ewoks out of these dogs. He's an Ewok. He's an Ewok. Let me in the video, Teddy. Alright. So, a man had two sons. And the younger son asked his father if he could have his inheritance early. He didn't want to wait for the father to pass away. He was like, so can I just get my money now? Like, I don't really want to live on the farm forever. I kind of want to just go do my own thing, you know? And the father, who was so loving, and my lighting is kind of crazy. So, yeah, that's a little better. So the father said, sure, honey, son, whatever you want. I'll sell half the farm, because that's technically your inheritance. And sell half the farm, you can have the proceeds of your half, and off you go. You want to go live in the city? You know, more power to you. So off he goes. Of course, the older brother's like, what was he even thinking? Life in the city, you know. So off the younger brother goes into the city, and woo, he's partying it up. He's chewing squeaky toys. He's gambling. He's drinking. He's eating all the finest food. He's like, woo, the ladies are all over the place. He's having all kinds of fun. And all of a sudden, he's out of money. You know? How did that happen? Surrounded by prostitutes and tables of gourmet food and jugs of wine and, you know, mountains of hashish, I guess. This is an old story. This takes place in the old days, before they would have had mountains of other kinds of drugs in the background. Anyway, so he hits rock bottom. And then on top of that, there's a huge famine in the land too, and like everybody's starving. So it's not just him out of money. It's like so many other people are starving, and he's like, oh, what am I going to do? And it's chaos in the city, and people are murdering people for scraps of food. And so he ends up kind of meeting this guy who's a pig farmer who lives a little ways outside of the city, and like not in the same direction as his father's farm, but just a little ways outside of the city. And he's like, can I please be your servant? Can I, I'll be the stable hand. I'll feed the pigs, whatever. I just need I need room and board, and I'll work for it, basically. And so the pig farmer's like, yeah, great. I need someone to take care of the pigs, and so I can sleep in. So here's this younger son. He's hit rock bottom. He's explored every avenue of debauchery and craziness and indulgence and will he can get his hands on. And he's like at this point where he's waking up at the crack of dawn to throw slop to the pigs. And he's hungry. He's not eating lobster and veal and all the stuff he was eating before. He's getting just bread and water. It's all the stable hands get, bread and water. And he's standing there at the crack of dawn throwing the pig slop out, and he has a moment where he actually looks at it and he's like, oh man, I'm so hungry. I could almost eat that. What they're eating, is that an apple core? God, I haven't had an apple in so long. And suddenly it dawns on him like, wait a minute, what am I doing? What am I doing? Feeding pigs, pig slop, eating bread and water. Even the servants at my father's house have chicken occasionally and are fed vegetables, and even the servants at my father's house eat decent food. Not this bread and water. Oh man, I really kind of blew it though, didn't I? Oh God, who knows if my father ever even wants to see me again. I asked for my half of the inheritance before he died, and then I just blew it all. I squandered it all. Oh, so he readies himself and he's like, okay, here's my plan. I'm going to go back to my father's farm. I'm going to beg him to please, can I be a worker on your farm? I've obviously been demoted as being your son. My older brother's going to inherit everything because he's the good one who stayed there the whole time. And maybe if I'm lucky, my father will just let me come back and be a servant, because at least then I can have 3 meals a day. And the servant cabins are a lot nicer than this hut that I'm in, and the pig farm. The pig farm stinks. There's no pigs at my father's house because it's kosher. And Teddy, come on with the squeaky toy. Come here. So, anyway, so he starts the long journey, and he's preparing his speech, "Dear Father, please forgive me. I've failed you, and I didn't do what I should have done. I let my sin and everything get the best of me." And he's "Please, can I at least just grovel, And then there's the father who's at the farm, and he's just, doing his thing. See, he's way off in the distance, and he's he has one of those old-fashioned telescopes. He's "Oh, is that my son? It's my youngest son! He's come back! He's on his way back!" And he's "Servants, servants!" And the servants are "Yes, Lord." And he's "Quick, quick, quick! Quick, it's my baby boy. He's on his way back. Oh my God, I thought I'd never see him again. I thought he must have died in the famine and everything. And quick, bring the nicest robe and get my nicest ring out of the dish on my dresser and come and bring it and adorn him. Hurry, hurry, hurry. Go get all that stuff before he gets here." And they're "Right away, sir." And he's "Oh my gosh, it's him, it's him." Meanwhile, the guy's doesn't even see the dad in the distance, because he's "I don't know if he'll forgive me, and I don't know how it's going to work out, because I've just been such a mess, and I could have made better choices, and da 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 da." Anyway, so then he gets up to the father, and he's "Father, please forgive me. I don't know if I'm worthy. I don't know if you'll accept me." The father's "What? Are you crazy? Come here. I haven't seen you in so long. I'm so happy you're here." And he hugs him. And then the servants rush in and put this nice robe on him. The guy's "Whoa, wait, what? I smell like pig shit. I've been walking for hours." I'm for days. And they put the nice ring on him, and the younger son's "Well, what's going on? I thought for sure I was going to be getting in trouble." The younger son thought for sure the father would be "Yeah, well, there better be some real groveling out of you, young man." But he wasn't. The father was overjoyed just to see him, just that he came back. The father was so happy that he decided to leave everything he'd been around and realized that the love that was waiting for him at his father's farm was there. He was just so happy that here is his child come back, ready to say, "I want what you have to give me. I've tried everything else, and it's not as good as what you've got." So the father's saying to the servants, "Quick, sacrifice the fatted calf. We're going to have a huge feast because my son's returned that I thought I'd never see again." And the servants are "Dun, dun, dun, dun." They got the tambourines and whatever that little goat skin, dung, 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 little doom back, whatever. And so they have a big feast in the main hall, and they're preparing the calf, and the older brother's been out on the farm, and he hears all this noise and all this commotion. He's "What's going on? I didn't know there was a thing tonight. What's happening?" And he goes over to the main hall, and he kind of looks in, and he's "What is that? What's going on over there?" And he sees one of the servants, and he's "Can you chew something else? Can you chew your bone? I know you're happy to have, just chew that for now, okay? And then when I'm done, you can have your little dog back." Okay, anyway, so So the older son is says to one of the servants, "Hey, come here, come over here." The servant's having fun at the party, and he's "Oh, yes, sir, what's up?" And the older son's what's happening? What's going on in there?" And the servant says, "Oh, well, didn't you know your younger brother, who we all thought we'd never see again, because we thought for sure he must have died out there. He came back, and your father's so excited, he sacrificed the fatted calf, and we're having a huge party, and it's great. You should come on and party. And your dad's so happy. He's dancing a jig up on the table and everything. It's fabulous." And the older brother, instead of being happy, instead of being glad to see his younger son, the older brother started pouting. The older brother was "What? Him? Mr. Gamble away my inheritance? Mr. Debauchery and sin and bottom of the barrel existence? Dad's happy that he's..." And so then The father comes out because the servant's like, hey, your older brother's out there, your older son's out there, but he's like, I don't know, he doesn't want to come inside. So the father comes out and he's like, son. The father's got like a laurel on his head, and he's like, wah. And he's like, come on, your younger brother's here, let's rejoice, it's great. And the older brother says, you never sacrificed the fatted calf and threw a party for me and my friends, and I've been here this whole time. I never left. I never explored a crazy, wild, sinful life. I've been perfect and righteous and doing all the right things, just like you said, all this time. I've never had crazy, wild fun. I've just been trying so hard to be perfect and do everything right. And you never threw a big party for me. Why does he get all this attention? Why are you so happy about him? I'm the one who should be getting, remind you of any religious people, And the father said, son, look, I'm very grateful that you've been here all this time. And yes, you're a very hard worker, you've been very diligent, and you're very well behaved. And that's great. I mean, I really do appreciate it. I mean, really, I do. And you know that everything I have is yours. And anytime you want to sacrifice the fatted calf and throw a party for your friends, well, son, you go right ahead. It's here. You're here. I mean, you can party anytime you want. Like, it's available to you. But, honestly, as much as I love and appreciate that you've been such a good son all these years, I also love and appreciate, and it might even actually mean more to me, that the one who I thought was gone, the one who I thought I might never see again, the one who I thought I might never be able to give all my love and all my treasures and all my inheritance to, the one I thought had turned his back on me and left forever, he's come back. And the fact that he's come back, you bet I'm going to rejoice. And am I worried about the fact that he's done a million crazy things that weren't perfect or righteous or whatever? No, I'm just glad he's here. So that is the story of the prodigal son. And the context of that story, for those of you who don't know, there's a scene in the Bible, in the New Testament, when Jesus is hanging out with the tax collectors and the prostitutes and all the people that all the righteous people are like, oh, those people. And some Pharisees, the Pharisees were the super uptight religious people at the time. They kept the law, they did everything right, they were perfect, they were righteous in God's eyes, they'd never, they never associate with miscreants like prostitutes or tax collectors, God forbid the tax collectors. So some Pharisees came by, because Jesus was hanging out in the open with these other people, and the Pharisees were like, so what's your deal, Mr. Rabbi Jesus of Nazareth? You claim to be some kind of special enlightened guy, and here you are hanging out with these people? You're hanging out with prostitutes, you're hanging out with tax collectors, you're hanging out with lepers? What is the story with you? And Jesus said, a man had 2 sons. And he told a shorter, more concise, old-fashioned biblical version of the story I just told you. That was Jesus' response. It was like, yeah, sure, you guys are perfect and everything, but you know what God really loves? These guys. You know why? Because they've been through it all, they've done it all, they know they can't make it on their own. They've been broken by life. They've been brokenhearted, they've been at the bottom of the barrel, they've been through hell and back, and they've decided after losing everything that they'd come back to God and see if there was something there for them. And what did they find? They found a Father God jumping for joy to see them again. So, that's the story of the prodigal son, and it applies to prodigal daughters. And I'm not going to follow it up with some little, sermon-y tidbit, because you can figure it out. You can read into it. If it resonates for you and it's important to you, great. Thanks for listening.